What's up guys, and welcome to Void of Dust Gaming, your channel for fresh arena of Valor content. After I've done my videos for the different tier lists, which are unfortunately in German, but you can still find them on this channel, I checked Doysers again, who is one of the pro players, who is basically, I think, the only one with constant tier lists on the internet so far. At least he is still doing those on his Facebook page. And I was just checking the supports and saw that Tachi was ranked in the best tier possible yet. And I said to myself, I wanted to try something new and find out how good Tachi is as a support warrior, because I was playing him on the solo lane so far, and this video is about Tachi's capabilities as a support. And therefore I'm going to present you at the beginning of this video my equipment. As you can see, we are going with a full tank build. Tachi has been reworked a little bit before the last update with the Battlefield 4.0. They wanted to make him a little bit more damage focused, I guess. So therefore we're going to kind of balance this by throwing in some tank items. As you can see, we've got the most popular ones in here. Don't know if the rock shield is really the right one to use, but we're going to see this in the video anyways, and afterwards we are going to have some verdict. Arcana wise, I'm going with my AD tank build that consists of 10 times Indomitable, 10 times Benevolence, and 10 times Skewer, so that we're getting at least about 800 health points with some added stuff such as movement speed and some attack speed. In the enchantment section, I'm going with the Explosive Shield as my core enchantment, backed up with some tower defensive stuff here coming from the Tower Blessing, as well as the regrowth for the additional shield. And I'm going with Enhanced Restore, and to help my dual laner, the AD carry, to get the laning phase a little bit quicker, and to help with the minion control, I went with Minion Kill, so that we're killing those minions on the last hits quite fast. So this is the build, and yeah, well, now I've got some gameplay, which is the important stuff for you. Let's see what Tachi is able to do. Alright, here we go. As I mentioned earlier on, I haven't played Tachi as a support, so this is going to be trial error, and we are going against another warrior who is switching to support, which is Arduin. And for those interested in that role, I am going to get you a video after this one where I am playing a quite aggressive Arduin with Eradicate as my support item, and I've changed Explosive Shield for Nature's Rage because Nature's Rage has been buffed a little bit in the latest update 34 or the patch 34, and I just wanted to try out if this kind of stuff is good or if it's still the Explosive Shield, which should be the staple on supports. So we're going to find out in an upcoming video, but this time it's all about Tachi versus Arduin, Joker versus Hayate. We've got Dio-chan against Vera in the middle lane. The junglers are Zenith on our team side against Butterfly, and we are having Irie versus Arthur on the solo lane. So I would say pretty even team compositions. Irie should be able to take on Arthur. She's got a little ranged advantage, and she's a lot more mobile than Arthur. I would say Arthur is a little bit more consistent on the lane before Irie is using her ult or get access to her ult. Vera versus Dio-chan is completely around who's able to use the spells better. Dio-chan needs to aim and hit them, while Vera can just press buttons. Our lane, I'd say Hayate is a little bit stronger if the Hayate player knows what to do, because Joker has been nerfed a little bit. And in the perspectives of the jungler, Zenith can be quite potent and quite powerful, but Butterfly is always a force to reckon with because she is a really strong jungler, has been ever since, because now she can become quite tanky and since Teamy or Tencent have added a shield to one of her abilities, she's become even more powerful than she has been in the game when she was previously introduced to it. So I guess this game is going to be won by the team who is going to execute the laning phase a little bit better, trying to get a little bit ahead in this kind of early phase in the game, and then mid to late game we're going to see who is more focused on getting objectives such as towers or monsters on the one hand, and of course whose team is the better one, executing the team fights, winning the team fights, and therefore winning by their game plan. So it's going to be a game that is dependent on the knowledge of the players as well as the team composition in team fights, I suppose. I mean, that's always kind of the case, but sometimes you do have stronger matchups against weaker ones, but in this kind of case I would say it completely depends on what the individual player or the player is doing. I went with upgrading my second ability first to get a little bit more damage on this kind of stun ability, and afterwards we're going to max out our one. Don't know if that is the best way to do it. Like, eventually there might be some players who are pretty good on Tachi, and you guys might be able to tell me what you think is the better alternative. In this case it was quite, I played quite offensively to get the Hayate because he was the bigger threat. Arduin is still chilling under tower, but it was important for me to try to get onto that ID carry and just got rid of him, because otherwise he's standing in the backline firing his bolts all over the place and dealing damage continuously to Joker, which now gets Joker into calling back and going back to base, healing himself up a little bit. What the enemy is doing now is actually quite smart. They start to harass our jungle, and as you can see, quite successful. Butterfly was not only able to make our Zenith repel, but also forced a kill on Vera. I mean, that was solved nicely by our Joker. But I didn't see Hayate coming to the mid lane this fast, backed up by Arduin, and this Hayate gets his first triple kill in the game, which is of course a huge drawback for us. You don't want Hayate to be fed at all. Like, by no means, this is something that you should avoid at any cost, but unfortunately we just gave him a little kickstart after 5 minutes, and this might be important for the rest of the game, because now Hayate is actually able to buy at least half of an item earlier than he was supposed to originally. So a lot of fighting was preparing ourselves to dive under the tower, get rid of the minions, and as you can see, our clear speed is a little bit faster, especially with the help of Vera. Now Zenith is about to enter the fight. I'm using my abilities here to not only get into position but also get the kill. It's a little bit a little bit difficult to hold back if you are actually playing a warrior. Of course, if you're playing a pure support, the kills for AD carries and junglers come in a little bit easier for those guys, so you need to stay focused and hold yourself back a little bit in order to make them work, because of course these are the ones who should shine in the continuing flow of the game. Unfortunately, I was able to get Butterfly here, but now I am getting dazed by Diogen, and with great luck I was able to get out of that situation alive, and now it's my time to go back and retreat, because otherwise I'm going to be killed, such as Vera was in this particular scene. So here you can see me recalling, because by no chance I would have been able to help out here that would have been a complete suicide mission, and as I grew older, I sometimes try to avoid situations like that. So if you take the overall score in terms of kills and deaths, I even outplayed, or I even left Hayate a little bit behind with 4 kills, but the problem is now I need to make them work, and I need to get my team on board so that they can participate in the fighting as well. So against a Dio-chan who's not really that bursty, I decided to still go with Gaia Standard as I set up in the original build. If I would have gone against, for example, another Vera or Natalia, I would have chosen to take Medallion of Troy instead, because that would have been a lot more helpful. This was super risky by Joker, and as you can see, the outcome of that fight was well determined. Joker was just rushing into the bush without any kind of knowledge about what was awaiting him there, and now Hayate has just taken the lead with 7 kills. That was actually super easy for him to pick them up. His whole team was fighting with him. They've got basically 2 tanks right now, with Ardwin as well as Butterfly. As you can see, she's sustaining in these fights quite long. Like, her health pool is a little bit bigger. She's a little bit more consistent, I'd say, than Xanis. Xanis is more bursty, a little bit more of a glass cannon if he's not super fed, with a lot of items that he can use actually to transition them into true damage, which is going to help him. And I don't know what happened, but I wasn't able to use the flicker. Like, the screen was always red, and I had no chance of following up. And now you can see how Butterfly is basically outplaying me here, but with the help of Vera and just staying in lane, we were able to fight this threat and kill Butterfly for the best of my team. So far, after 9 minutes, no team has really focused on getting those objectives. So Dragons and Darkslayers have not really been on the priority list, not even in the lower ranks, so I guess that's something where we could have been playing a little bit better. Tower-wise, the enemy team has already taken down 3, we have taken down 4, so that's pretty even. Kill-wise, we're standing 13 versus 11, but I think the main issue is that Hayate is becoming one of the top targets right now with 7 kills. He's super fat, he's super dangerous, and with Arthur, with Ardwin and with Butterfly, they've got a pretty strong front line. So we need to play around that front line in order to be successful, and with all those daze spells and stuff, I'm not able to take Dio-chan on. Instead, I'm being killed here. Now Joker just jumps into the fight again, and as you can see, his health is just melting away. So I think it would have been best for him to just stay put, be calm, and not enter the fight after the team fight was basically decided. I guess this following up wasn't the smartest decision, and now we are about just to defend the towers. They have completely put us into position, and unfortunately Xanis has not even upgraded his jungle item to the fullest, so he's still on the first wave, and being the last member of the fray with the littlest amount of gold, or the fewest amount of gold, he's not really contributing in any kind of important way to our team fights. So I was playing quite aggressively, hoping that the enemy team would take the chance to fight back and my team to arrive so we could fight them. But unfortunately, it seems that Irie is completely playing her own game without really paying attention or without really caring what we are about to do. Meanwhile, Butterfly has taken the chance because the enemy team won the team fight with 4 people. Butterfly has taken the chance to get the first objective, so she's got the first monster in here. and now I have to fight both Arduin and Arthur, and as you can see, I'm doing little damage. Of course, most of the itemization that I went with is based on tank items. I even got the kill right now on Arthur, which is actually quite good. But now the squishy targets, Joker and Vera, have to defend the base. I mean, their gold is actually quite okay-ish. I mean, Heise has about 1,000 gold more than Joker, so that's a thing. And Dio-chan has 1,000 gold more than Vera, so they've got the gold lead, and it shows. Like, that's the problem, I guess, that their damage dealers or their carries have 2,000 gold more in combination than our best two, and this is going to be quite important for the rest of the game, or for the last portion of the game, because now they managed to get the Darkslayer summoned to the battlefield with a level 14 Hayate, who has about 9 kills right now, and he's going to use them. So as you can see, Irie is actually about to be dead, and now she is dead, and there's not really that much we can do against it. Like, I can jump in into the fight, but you're going to see for yourself what happens right now. There's a lot of crowd control coming from Dio-chan. Hayate is using his skills to deal massive amounts of damage, and there's just nothing that we can do against the combined force of a Slayer with all these heals. Look at their health. It's crazy. It basically, we've entered the second stage of the team fight. Like, we've come back to the second stage, fueled up to full life, and the enemy, who's miles away from their base, are still about full health as well. So we did not really do anything against them. Now I'm trying to fight Dio-chan. Okay, she's been killed right now, but as you can see, the enemy survives this team fight quite easily. One person killed on both sides, or two people killed on both sides. Now Irie's dead as well. And I guess the problem is, if the support is the third best in terms of the overall gold on your team, there is something a little bit wrong. Now this actually worked quite nicely. Don't know how this happened, but the combined power of Vera, Zenith and Joker was actually enough to stop the enemies in their tracks. So that push has officially been stopped, but unfortunately, as you can see, the enemies done a really good job on pushing the towers. We were 1 tower ahead when the score was about 15 to 17 or something like that, and now we are 4 towers behind. So there's not one single lane push to the last tower. There's 1 tower still standing on the top lane. I mean, yes, we managed to get the tower now, but now it's important to regroup, refocus, and as no one is basically calling anything, and now my team starts the Darkslayer. I think that is the worst decision that you can ever have. Irie's been killed. I don't stand a single chance against Dio-chan. She was just ripping me apart. And now we've lost 3 people. The enemy lost 0. And we just started a Darkslayer run for them, and they don't even need it. Basically, they're full life, and they're approaching our tower now with a small minion force. The only person to defend the tower right now is our Vera, and that's game. So yeah, things like that do happen. Let's check out the detailed report, because then we're going to see where we should have improved a little bit, where have been the weakest forces. Vera is the MVP with about 1/3 of the total damage in this game. Zenith was the meat shield, actually eating a lot of damage. Not entirely sure about that. But if you check the team score, 8.0, I'm the second best player with 6.8, but then everyone is falling a little bit behind. And meat shield wise, I was tanking about 1/3, even more of the overall stuff, and I've got more gold than Zenith and Irie, and I think that was the drawback. So this was the game. I hope you got a good impression. I think Tachi is actually really good as a support, but you need the damage as a backup to make him work if you build him as tanky as I did, and I think this is definitely something that you should consider if you play him as the support tank in your team, especially if you only got one real tank, or one. I wasn't even a real tank, I was a warrior tank. It's even more important to go full tank mode, because otherwise you will not last longer in team fights. And with the forces of Arduin and Arthur, we would have needed a lot more damage and a lot of more armor piercing in order to make a successful play here. That's the verdict. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a nice evening and stay tuned to the channel. Arduin is about to come. Bye bye.